listening to the Deep Purple Podcast, a fan podcast devoted to one of the greatest bands in rock history, Deep Purple. Your hosts, Nate and John, cover their shared history with the band, discover new music together, and cover the farthest reaches of the Deep Purple family tree and beyond. Here's Nate and John now.
Welcome to the Deep Purple Podcast, a fan podcast devoted to one of the greatest bands in rock history, Deep Purple. Today's episode is episode number 316, Glenn Hughes' Addiction, Part 2. And coming to you from the suburbs of Chicago, where it's early. I'm your host, Nathan Beaudry.
Hey, coming to you from the suburbs of Providence, I'm your co-host, John, the action figure Matola.
Oh, yes, I got your action figure this morning. I've been seeing everybody posting these.
Yeah, that's fun. AI can be fun.
Yeah, it can be. Usually. So I've got the latest update of Photoshop, which I think I've talked about on the show, and there's a few I guess they call it AI, but it's like you never know if it's really AI or is it just a feature they were working on that they're calling AI, because they've done a lot of stuff before. They could just, the eraser tool, it's AI. It figures out where you want to get rid of the picture. But there are the generative AI. So one of the things I've started doing instead of manually drawing in where the picture cuts off is selecting it and saying finish the picture.
Yeah,
I have a couple of good ones for John that I sent.
I'm always a riot. Yeah.
It was like cut off a little too high, so I was like, finish, the bottom part of his body, and I just put like 3 hands, just all mangled hands, 6 fingers each. All what's up with these hands? I didn't say anything about hands. I just wanted to make like finish your shirt and the arm, and it was like, nope, I'm gonna put 3 hands on this one person. So yeah.
Well. I saw that the trend, especially in our text group, somebody sent the Stevie Ray Vaughan action figure wearing the infamous polka dotted shirt that we keep seeing everywhere. So all I did was I dropped in ChatGPT a picture of myself from my birthday a few years ago when I wore said infamous outfit, and said to generate a retro action figure of me with accessories, and it had me in my outfit with the black and white polka dot shirt, and my accessories were a bottle of wine, a bag of Cadbury mini eggs, and a vinyl record, and a backpack. For some reason it generated on its own.
Yeah, the backpack, a record, the Cadbury's mini eggs. They came out pretty good. So that's all you had to. Is it? It wasn't like a specific AI program. It was just you just put those prompts in.
Yeah, it was just a picture of myself in, because I guess ChatGPT has done some they're always doing updates, and I see these videos all the time, or things like cool things you could do with ChatGPT, and they just gave a specific prompt. So I'm like, let me do that. So I put the prompt in like generate an action figure, this, that, and the other.
Did you tell it about the wine and Cadbury mini eggs?
Yeah, it said which accessories to include. So I'm trying to think like, okay, what are things like? I figured like when one of you guys saw, you'd be like, oh, you forgot the something obvious that I would probably forget.
No, I think you nailed. I don't know what the backpack's all about, but I think you nailed it.
No, I think AI chose the backpack on its own, maybe to put the wine, Cadbury eggs, and record in.
That's a tiny backpack. It's like you're like a Japanese schoolgirl backpack. If it was like a funky color, John is a Harajuku girl.
I think it's getting better though. I've been using it to like prompting it for like some kind of like a tool to redecorate, like redecoration ideas or like decluttering ideas for certain rooms in my house. Because sometimes I'll be looking at a space and I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. And sometimes the ideas are good, sometimes they're not good.
They just put a bunch of hands everywhere. His hands coming out of the walls.
It's just like, what kind of lamp should I have? It's just a big hand with a light coming out of
A big
it.
glowing light down, yeah. Oh, nice
No,
chandelier over the dining table.
no, I will say in terms of the because I remember about what was it, maybe 5-ish years ago, like right around maybe a year into when we started the show, and I started um redoing a
Oh,
lot
yep.
of stuff in my house, like a lot of updating and stuff like that. It was before any of this stuff was really available, so I would like try and find image generators online, or just like a website where you take a picture and then like put your room into it, and then you could like tap the wall and it would turn a different color. But it was horrible. It wasn't like that good. It gave you kind of like a glimpse into it. Um, but yeah, this uh, AI tools that are available now, they're much better. Like it doesn't, like, it'll put a closet door where there isn't one, but I mean, stuff like that. But overall, it looks like it's starting to preserve a lot of the some of the integrity of like the original image, which is kind of cool if you're actually trying to do something useful. And
Yeah.
then when you're goofing around, it's just kind of fun, like with the action figure thing. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's the tools that they've added to Photoshop have honestly the only one I was really interested in. I don't think it's technically AI as the background removal tool, which has saved me so much time because like your hair right now, like if you sent me that picture, like using the little magic wand to try to get rid of everything, but then it gets rid of
yeah.
your head and then it's like it blends in with the wall because your hair is dark and the wall's dark. And
Yeah.
then this is just it. There's a few things. It's usually like older photos or photos that are like a little blurry. But for the
Yeah.
most part, I just put a picture of you and it's like it even goes in between the little hair follicles and removes all the background. It's just like, oh man, it saves so much time.
Wow.
And it looks 10 times. It does it in about maybe 5 seconds, what used to take me like 5 minutes, and does a way better job. So
There you
that
go.
was the main reason for upgrading. But anywho, welcome to the Deep Purple podcast, everybody. If you listened to our last episode, which you should have, don't start on a part 2. But hey, if you want to, do it. I don't care. It's your life. You can do whatever you want. Spend enough time arguing with my kids. I don't need to argue with you. Listen to part 1 of Glenn Hughes Addiction. We're gearing up for part 2 right here. So if you want to support our show, this is your weekly reminder that the Deep Purple podcast is 100% listener supported and ad free. So if you receive some value from our show, please consider giving us some value back. A number of ways you can do it. One is by buying some merch on our Etsy store. And hey, somebody bought something on our Etsy store the other day, a t-shirt size that we don't have.
Get out.
Yeah, and I reached out and I was like, hey, so sorry we don't have that, but here's the sizes we have. And I was going to, maybe throw in a few free hat or anything for the inconvenience. Didn't hear back. And then I reached out to him via Etsy. Still didn't hear anything back. So I'm like, hey, man, I got your money. So I want to send you. I've got the label and everything. So I really want to send it to him. So if you're listening and you haven't, this will be kind of late at this point, but hopefully he gets back to us because I really want to get him something. I sent him a couple of hats, send him a different size shirt, whatever. So hopefully I will hear back from him soon. But you can also become a patron on Patreon or on PayPal for as little as $1 a month. Joining our patronage gets you access to our Discord group with all of our patrons. You get to join us on our live stream episodes. You get to rank our album ranking episodes. And today is, as this is released, Cinco de Mayo. This is the deadline for getting in your Machine Head rankings. So, and if you're a patron and you're a little late, don't worry about it. But get us.
What if I'm a co-host and a little late?
Well, you just have to come up with them on the fly on the episode. But send over your rankings so we can get to it and include them in the episode. Yeah, so Cinco de Mayo. Do you do anything for Cinco de Mayo?
Yeah, the usually I think in the past few years, like maybe 3-4 years, Rich and I have a tradition now where we go out for Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so I mean it's nothing special. I mean we just like Rich and I just have like a standing plans. Yeah,
Rich is not going to like that. Oh, it's nothing special.
Oh no, delete it.
No, I'm not. I'm leaving it
Edit
in.
it. No, I mean we
Short
don't. No, I mean we don't plan.
It's just hanging
We
out with
don't.
that bum.
All right. Well, all right. So I'll try and dig myself out of the hole. We don't plan anything special.
There we go. But it's
We
always special when you're with Rich. That's what you're trying to say, right?
Yes. Even if he doesn't buy it at this point. Um, no, but it's been, I don't know, I think like 1 year. We were just like, it was say he's like, hey, you want to go out, like, have a few drinks, whatever, and it was fun. So we, just kept doing it. And last year we had we would like go out to just Mexican restaurant, which if you time it right is not as much of a shit show as you think.
Well, you get in there a little earlier.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
a little
later in the
earlier.
evening. Of course, it's on a Monday this week, so it's going to be a rough
Yeah,
morning
well, a
in
little
the office, I guess.
a little earlier or a little later, depending. But last year, one of his friends from his band Double Bill had a party at his house.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so that was pretty cool. We went over there and kind of celebrated like a few more people, and they did an impromptu show in Bill's living room. So that was fun. It was not if I remember correctly, it was not Mexican themed music, but it was acoustic rock. But still, yeah. So that's what do you do? Anything?
Nothing. We've gone out a couple of times, but yeah, usually I just do a taco night with the kids or something. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, usually I don't fall for trappings like that, like the St. Patrick's Day and all that other
Yeah.
stuff. But for some reason, like Cinco de Mayo is just one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's fun. Let's do something, and it kind of stuck.
Well, any excuse to. I mean, obviously for all those holidays, it's any excuse to drink beer and get plastered. But for most people, but it's also just like, hey, any excuse to eat Mexican food. Like, usually don't need much of an excuse. Oh
Not
no,
me, but-
tacos and burritos are terrible.
Yeah, no, it is a good excuse. I mean, I love we've talked about recently how I've not a fan of Irish food. However, Mexican food, bring it on. I probably have like taco night at least once a week. So
Yeah, we do it. Yeah, every 2-3 weeks at least. But yeah, I mean, no offense to our Irish listeners, but Irish cuisine versus Mexican is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so speaking of folks that support our show, we'd like to take a chance to support our executive level patrons coming in at the in memoriam tier, the wonderful late Gerald, Jerry, Kelly, and family. The $25 uncommon man tier, we have Ovis Nakfi and Purple Maniac. At the 15 squid tier, we have Alan. At the 10-pound good doctor tier, we have Dr. Mike Catan. At the turn it up to $11 tier, Clay Wambacher, Frank Thielgard, Mortensen, Mikkel Steen, Will Porter, PhDPP, and Michael, don't call him Bradford Bagford. At the $10 someone came tier, Ryan M., Jeff Bryce, Victor Campos, Better Call Saul Evans. And Peter from Illinois. And at the Deep Thoughts by John Matola tier, Fielding Fowler.
And now, Deep Thoughts by John Matola.
Wait a minute. I lost it.
Thank you to all of you for your generous support of the Deep Purple podcast. Oh, all right. So here we are. We don't have any postcards this week. Ralphie's probably banking them, furiously writing in Nashville, so we can send them all along. And yeah, here we are. We left off last week with pretty positive feeling of this album so far. And
yeah, it was so long ago that we were listening to the first half.
I could almost barely remember it. But yeah, now, I'm sorry.
It's inside joke.
Inside joke. Maybe we recorded that episode late last night, and now it's early the next morning.
So it's still fresh in our minds.
Unexpected schedule change at work, and we both had the morning off. So I said, "Hey, let's get ahead on an episode. Why not? Got a bank
and I mean
for our busy summer coming up."
Yeah, and I mean, I don't want I mean, it's an album that I'm clearly enjoying. I don't mind getting a jump on listening to more. So
When John said he was going to listen to it at work the following night, that hasn't happened yet. So, so tonight,
well,
and
well,
I
by
will
the time
too.
the episode is out, I will have. But after this episode, I will be listening to it.
Yeah, I will be listening to it on my commute. But yeah, so here we are. We're at the second half of the album. And if we can get right into it, the next track up is called I'm Not Your Slave.
Uh-oh. I'm not getting any audio.
I fixed it. Kind of interesting tone on that like lead guitar part. Very
Yeah.
chilly. So list this one as just Bonilla as the songwriting credits in the in the liner notes, but I'm seeing it listed elsewhere as Vanilla Hughes.
You say coffee and vanilla?
Coffee, Hughesy, and Bonilla.
So already I'm hearing like a little bit of a difference in like the kind of the style of music. All right, I take it back.
Ooh, this is a nice, hard
Yeah.
and funky. Just like my underwear when I was at sleepaway camp. Oh! Oh, now they're kind of like adding another little element to that guitar part.
Yeah. I was saying it sounds a little more intricate, you know, a little less of that heaviness that we had heard on part one, except for that last part.
Yeah. Wow, I couldn't tell that in the background if that was a guitar or another Hughes vocal. It was way in the background. It was like Hughes falling off a cliff or something.
Was it?
I don't know. I can't. I think it was another vocal by him. That was Hughes falling off a cliff.
For a minute, I didn't know where it came from. I'm like, is that coming from in here? Wilhelm?
If I heard that in my room, I'd freak out. All right. So I'm not your slave. So the lyrics very, again, very defiant. Lock the cell and kill the sun. Let me cook until I'm done. Wow, he was ahead of it with the let me cook. That's what the kids are saying these days.
So he's not the slave of drugs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not a slave to let him cook. My dog is going nuts upstairs. Sorry, everybody.
Can't hear it.
Oh, good.
It's all good.
Hopefully it's blocked out from the thing. If not,
Devil Dog, the Hound of Hell, Tuesday at 9, 8 Central and Mountain, right after the paper chase.
All right, so John, I'm not your slave. He's letting. Don't let me. Do the kids you work with say that? Let me cook.
I don't think so. I haven't heard it.
The kids, it's like it's an expression. You know, if like you're doing something stupid and you're like, hey, don't do that. But, oh, let me cook. You know, they just like it's like kind of like it's my thing. I wanna do it. You know, like let me cook. Let them cook.
No. I just what do I hear? Fire. Ooh.
Okay,
that's fire.
That's fire. That's from like 2000.
No, they started using it again. 2000.
It's now retro. They're using it ironically.
I don't know. Well, I mean, don't laugh at me. I'm not
movie.
using it. I'm not using it.
No. I do say, let me cook.
Of course you would.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so John, I'm not your slave. How do you?
No, you're not.
John, I've had enough of your shit. I'm not your slave. All right.
Yeah, I give that one a 3. I think it's a moderately strong track. I feel like it's starting off, I guess, on let's say this is side 2. Sure. Or after the last song, after the kind of ballad, talk about it, which seemed to be a little bit of a departure. This feels like it's going down the road of being a bit of a departure. Now it's a little more poppy-ish. Still strong performance from Hughes vocally. I mean, like there never is, but anything but. It's always a strong vocal performance from him. But it feels like it's a bit of a departure, a few more intricacies in there with the guitar, but nothing, like I said, nothing too crazy. So, but yeah, not too much of a standout as much as some of the other stuff from the first side.
All right, I will give it a 3.5. I loved that. I thought that was pretty heavy and funky, right up my alley.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was digging it. All right. You can go. I don't think I have much on this one. The second half of this album doesn't have I don't have as many notes on. But let's see. Anything about this song in particular? I'm Not Your Slave. Nope. Nothing about any of the songs except his favorite ballad is on this half of the album. Which so far there's only been one, so he doesn't have a lot to choose from. But all right, here we go. The next song is another Bonilla Hughes joint, and this one is called "Cover Me." It's another one I can't find the lyrics for in this liner notes. Maybe I'm missing a page. Oh, here it is. It almost sounds like the way the guitar's playing, like it's in a different time signature, but it seems to just be 4/4.
Very moody.
Yeah. The way that they're doing, like picking out the notes from the chord too. Yeah. This does have kind of more of like that grunge feel to it. It's like a Zeppelin-y sort of chorus guitar. Cover Me While I'm Sleeping. This song is about his duvet. It's like, I think he's like raking the strings over by the tuning pegs.
Yeah, I don't know if I love those little touches in there. I don't know if they're necessary. Well, like the little raking of the strings, the space that they're putting between everything. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it should be more. Sometimes it's more like less is more. It's a little more intentional if you just leave that space in there instead. It feels like you're throwing in a bunch of noises, and effects just because you can. And then this seems now that you brought up that it sounds kind of like Zeppelin-y, it just doesn't seem to fit.
This like cashmere section right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think on the songs we've heard to this point, I feel like there was a lot more intentional space left in the music.
Yeah, see those little sound effects, I don't think those are necessary.
I think that's at a different time sector. Is that 6? Yeah, I think it goes into like 6/8 here. I like the background on this page of the book. It's like looks like pills or something, you know. When we're talking about addiction, although to the best of my knowledge was never Hughes's problem, but it does looks like there's a big pile of pharmaceuticals behind the lyrics. I kind of, you know, those they're panning between the headphones, and the more I'm hearing it, the more I'm liking it. It's like giving this kind of frantic cry for help sort of feeling. Like that ending sound, just like the ending for a 311 song.
Yeah, 311. I don't know why it's amusing, but
I know. 311's a guilty pleasure of mine, so I don't believe in guilty pleasures, but as far as 311 goes, I kind of do. All right, John, what do you think of Cover Me? Cover Me.
I'm gonna go 2.5 on this one.
I knew it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I knew you were gonna give it a 2.5. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just now, I don't know, now I'm kind of sad because the album had this momentum, and now I feel like it's overstayed its welcome, and now we're just going to get a bunch of filler. You know, it's stuff like this that I kind of like what regular like other Hughes solo efforts that I was talking about kind of suffer from, is just being just kind of average. You know, it's almost like, okay, we did a bunch of just barn burners, and now we're gonna slip back into what we usually do, and I don't know, I just feel like, you know, it's not holding on to that intensity that the first part of the album had, the past couple of tracks anyway.
Yeah. I'll give it a 3. I thought it was good. But yeah, I don't think it's on par with like the first half was pretty incredible to me. So yeah, it's losing a little of the momentum, but this might just be part of the thinking of this as a CD rather than a double-sided album, this could just be like the little lull in the middle where it's going to come back and melt your face off. But apparently there's going to be another ballad too, so it won't melt your face off there. It'll cool your face just so it can melt it again. But yeah, I mean, I like it, but yeah, I see what you're saying about the intensity level. But let's see if Hughes picks that back up with the next track, which is written by, this one's a Hughes and Marsh joint. This one's called Blue Jade. Very distant drums. It's like a marching band is approaching. With an electric bass player, traditional marching band instrument. That's a very unusual start to a song. I liked it.
Yeah.
Blue Jade. Oh, well, now the liner notes for here say Hughes, Marsh, Axelson, so I don't know why these are not in sync here. Very atmospheric song so far. Oh, it's like a little weird synth or mellotron or something in the background.
Kind of a Middle Eastern guitar line. Yeah, so I see he's going for something that's very moody.
So Blue Jade apparently comes from the United States, Guatemala, and Japan, which seems weird that it would just be those places. But apparently it has spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical healing properties.
Okay.
Get a little woo-woo on you. It's an excellent tool for those who use their words to guide others, including parents, teachers, politicians, and media personalities. I'm gonna bring to work. We should bring some Blue Jade to work tonight and use our words to guide others on our emotional healing journey.
Lord knows I try.
Just throw a handful of Blue Jade at them. Ah! I'm trying to guide you, damn it. But this sounds like it's about a person called Blue Jade.
Mm-hmm. See, now I was expecting some kind of breakdown or a solo here, so now we're getting to like a third verse, so now it's kind of dragging. Because now I don't know where we are in the song. I'm like, is it going to be over soon? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, it's a... doesn't seem like there's much in the way of changes or tempo.
What?
I just was looking to see if I could find anything out about this song, and some dumb website I've never heard of said Blue Jade is a somber song by Glenn Hughes with a tempo of 200 BPM.
What? Okay.
I don't think if you doubled this, it was 200 BPM. That's a lot of B's per M for this song. One of the, so far, this is probably the longest song on the album. It's over 7 minutes long.
Jesus. Yeah, it felt like it.
Jade.
Yeah. Kind of, it's unfortunate. I'm kind of disappointed.
All right, I'm going to put my score in that's a guess of your score, and then we can both hit enter together to see if I'm right. Okay.
All right.
I'll say when to hit enter. Okay.
Wait a minute. Wait, you're guessing my score?
So I type my score in, and then when I hit enter, it'll show, and then you can enter your score in, and if we both hit enter at the same time.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be my guess for your score.
Okay. Oh, what in your thing?
Yeah, when I say Blue Jade, press enter. 3, 2, 1. Blue Jade. Oh, I guessed low.
Yeah. I guess I was a little kinder than you thought. Well, 2.5.
All right.
2.5. It was there were some emotional parts to it. Like if you think about the song, the solo, the kind of the Middle Eastern parts, the vibe of the whole song, it's not bad. It's just way too long and monotonous. It's just like those songs that we've talked about that they don't go anywhere. They just kind of feel like they're on a loop. There's no dynamics to them. There's no bridge. There's no something else. It's just it was too plotting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so. I agree. I will actually stick with the 2 for me. It was. I think what was there was really good, but
yeah,
about the 50th time of Blue Jade, I was like, it feels like there should have been even just like a really mellow instrumental solo of some point, or of some kind, or something to kind of break it up, or like just a different section. I think what was there was good, but 7 minutes of that kind of tempo and. I'm saying this as someone who's like a huge fan of Pink Floyd, so I'm not opposed to long, down tempo parts of the song that move along differently. But this just didn't seem to move in that way that I kind of hoped it would. All right.
Yeah.
Well, the next track up is called "Justified Man." Kind of like the beginning of a Rage Against the Machine song. What's that song? Killing in the Name. It sounded like the beginning of that. Oh, it sounds like we're going back to the blues. I don't know if this was cleared by the LA Blues Authority or not, but
yeah, unfortunately, I feel like Hughes has kind of lost the theme of the album at this point.
or is this his triumphant rise against the addiction that he's been suffering from?
I mean, I was thinking that is maybe the first half of the album felt very kind of downtrodden, very dark, and everything that we've been listening to today sounded a little more upbeat and poppier, or just a different style, a different vibe than the beginning of the album. I don't know. I think it would have been more effective if we just kind of kept it down there. Just the simple riffs and just keeping the theme of the album just very kind of simple and dark. It doesn't feel dark anymore.
Well, no, this is probably the most upbeat song on the album. And it has that song of like... He's kind of painting this Wild West narrative, almost. At least that's what I'm picking up from it. Like looking at the lyrics about, of a doomed man. I'm just thinking of like an Old West sort of scenario, but is this his final stand against the drugs that have been keeping him down? Nice slide work.
Oh yeah, I mean, standalone, it's not a bad song.
Kind of a cool, unusual tone shift at the end with those notes that were being held, or the feedback, or whatever that was. All right, John. Are you a justified man? What are you gonna?
I feel like I'd be a justified man in giving this a 3.
All right.
I think it's not a bad song. I don't know if it's I don't know. I have to think about it. I don't know if it's for this album, but
it's a very even though it's co-written with Vanilla, it looks like it's very classic Hughesy sound to it.
Yeah, I mean it's and maybe thematically it's fitting in with what he wanted to do with the album, like because I was thinking about that too. Is maybe it starts off in a darker feeling place and kind of ascends or rises up, but I don't know. I just feel like it would have been more cohesive, a more cohesive sounding effort if kind of kept the vibe from the first several songs of the album, which it seems to have lost at this point. And now we're going into kind of bluesy, poppy, just kind of whatever territory here.
Bluesy, poppy, Hughesy.
Yeah, just album tracks, just kind of like, okay, this isn't really distinctive or anything. Doesn't stand out.
All right, I will give this a 3 as well. Let's see what the Golden Girls have to say about it.
Oh, hello there. I don't believe we've been introduced. My name is Blanche Devereaux. That's French for Blanche Devereaux.
So Blanche liked it. I think she's given it more of a 4, 4.5.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good, solid song, but I don't know. I guess if we're going into it feeling like if we've how am I trying to say it? If we've kind of in our mind created the narrative that this is a concept album, the concept seems to have been lost, which is kind of
or has it?
Yeah, I mean, maybe this is part of it. I don't know. But
I mean, musically it has.
Musically, correct. And not that every album has to have the same tone. And honestly, I usually appreciate it if it doesn't, if it's broken up a little with different sounding songs. But yeah, I think we're putting that idea on it that this was a concept album, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. But anything that's kind of after the fact viewed as being a concept album, generally you can poke holes in the fact that it doesn't hold up, which would be kind of my, like Sgt. Pepper sort of thing, where the concept is gone for the middle 8 tracks or whatever, and only comes back on one track after 2. But yeah, it is what it is. But I think it's a good song, good upbeat song, which leads us to the last track on the album, which if you're doing your math, this is going to be Hughes' favorite ballad on the album. We're going to end with a ballad. I Don't Want to Live That Way Again. Given the theme of this album, it should be pretty obvious to see what that meaning is behind that before even listening to it. But let's take a listen to Hughes' favorite ballad, I Don't Want to Live That Way Again. Ooh, a lot of chorus on that guitar.
Kiss the day, there can be no other answer. Turn back the time and let me in.
I don't know if it's this chorus pedal, but it sure sounds like it.
Yeah.
A small clone electro harmonics pedal.
See, it's that like a spaghetti western kind of sound.
Yep.
That's what I would always call it. It's spaghetti western tone.
Inside myself, I guess I never knew which way to go. The time has come to know.
It's really reminding me of something now, but I can't place it. I'm kind of a sucker for a song that's like a cry for help. I don't know what it's like to go through what he went through, and I could never imagine, but my heart goes out to anybody that's suffering through that, or anyone who's had family or friends who have. So far, a nice slow build here. Very dramatic.
I'm miles away as I look into the water, and there's a tide that pulls me in. The missing page where there'll be the sun.
So, spoiler, this is the longest song on the album. But it is, apart from Blue Jade, it is building in a way that song wasn't.
once lost, now found. I don't wanna live. I don't wanna live. There's a light in the distance, and a voice that cries freedom. There's a cloud in the mirror, much too long he's been grieving. I have stumbled through madness. Now I've made my decision, and I don't wanna live that way again.
So I would think at this point, I don't know, just it is building to this point, but it's not changing from that that tempo that's just kind of staying the same. Like, it would be nice to see it do something more instrumentally in the middle.
I mean, objectively, not a bad Hughes ballad, but very
it's great.
standard issue for what he does.
Yep. I mean, my all-time favorite Hughes song of all time is This Time Around. And I think the thing that I really love about it is the simplicity, and it's got this tempo that's very similar to this. But it's short, it leaves you wanting more, and then it goes into this blistering instrumental right after it, which is, to me, what the two go hand in hand. You can't listen to one without the other, in my opinion.
Right.
It's two great musicians and songwriters doing what they do best, bringing them together in a way that you'd never expect. This is Now I've Replaced My Religion. Now, I know Glenn to be very spiritual, but he did have this point, I believe, was it Feel? It might have been in Feel, where he was,
Yeah.
or it might have even been before that. There was an album where he was certainly going down the road of, you know, talking about being obviously more religious and referencing Jesus and things like that, but it was very brief. He doesn't do that now. He's very spiritual. He's like one with the maker and all that sort of stuff, but he's not like, Jesus, you know, he's not doing any of that.
Yeah, very very general spiritual.
So when he says I've replaced my religion, I don't know if that means, but like, a different spirituality, or if he's saying that the addiction was his religion and he's replaced it with something else. It's almost Mellotronish sounding synth there. Wow, very haunting vocal there at the end. All right.
Yeah, I'll say so.
John, do you want to live that way again? On a scale of 1 to 5, how much do you want to live that way again?
Most certainly not. I don't know if I'd listen to the song again, honestly. I'll give it a 3.
All right.
It's
better than something you'd say you wouldn't want to listen to again.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine, but I mean, it's like I said, standard issue, standard issue Hughes ballad or a slow song, soulful. It didn't really do anything for me. Like it was too long, but I mean, pleasant enough to have on in the background. It's not like it was horrible, but it was too kind of drawn out, I think.
Yes.
Not enough dynamics, like just everything that I said about the other songs.
Yeah, it's 8 minutes and 20 seconds. It's pretty long. And that's, I hesitate to bring it up again because we talk about it all the time, is in the album era and the vinyl album era, would this have been something that would have been cut down to 3.5 minutes for space? Would you have been able to have a 7+ minute Blue Jade and an 8+ minute I Don't Want to Live That Way Again? There was no physical reason you couldn't, so you just would do it because this whole album might be 40 or 50 minutes. You still got you could put another 20, 30 minutes on this album and still be okay, which is why we got the 3 live tracks on the US release. But yeah, artists were much less likely to edit themselves in this era because it must have been for some ways very freeing. We used to be like, oh man, I used to have to cut stuff down so it could fit on the side. Now I can just go 8 minutes on a song. Although I felt this one justified the length much better than Blue Jade did. I will also give it a 3. I think it's a good song, and yeah, probably doesn't lend itself well to listening in this format, but by having the album on in the background, I think it works a little bit better. All right. So while John fumbles with the spreadsheet, I will jump ahead and thank our next level of patrons, and that is, of course, our core level patrons here. At the $6.99 new nice price tier, we have Spike the Rock Cat's Ghost and Sugar Tea. Fielding, you're gonna have to let us know if you want. I don't know. I feel like Spike the Rock Cat's Ghost deserves some sort of a jingle, like a haunting meow. Like something. It sounded more like a Hughes, but like something like ethereal with the cat. I can put something together, but let me know what you think. At the episode $6.66 tier, we have Steve Coldwell,
Steve,
Arthur Smith,
Getting support from the patron Arthur Smith,
Anton Glaving,
pain in the glaving,
and Charles Meadows. At the $6.65 Almost Evil tier, we have Kenny Wymore and Richie Sucksmith. At the 70 Norwegian kroner tier, we have Kai Runa, yes, I'm Norwegian Olsen. At the $5.99 the nice price tier, Robert Smith and Carl Hellberg. At the 60 kroner Scandinavian Nights tier, Newt Morton Johansson. At the €5.50 tier, we have Merlin Rota. At the $5 moneylender tier, John Convery, German Heindel, Adrian Hernandez, Jesper Alman, Alexei the Perfect Stranger Slepikoff, Kev Roberts, Percival Frequency, Scott Zerns, Cynthia Doobie, Raf Calf.
My Czechoslovakian is not so good.
Coyote Bongwater. John Maselli.
you know anything about bisexuals?
Sarah Sanders.
No, Kelly Clarkson!
Jellybean, Evan Robeson, Richard Fusey, and Purple Swede.
Sweet.
Thank you so much to all of you for your generous support of the Deep Purple podcast. And, given the fact that it's a morning episode and I'm drinking from my Ethel Merman mug.
Well, John's busting out the spreadsheets, and he's fumbling with the tabs. Oops, he sorted it the wrong way. Now he can't tell what is bad.
All right, John, where does I don't want to live that? I'm sorry. Where does addiction fall on the rating spreadsheet?
I don't want to live that way either. So we're kind of down in the bottom, which is a shame. Not the bottom, but like the bottom
half
area, bottom area. There. It's actually the album ranking is 6.75, which is tied with John Lord's Windows.
Two very different albums.
I know, right? Right, but also near the Free Fall by the Dixie Dregs and Wild Thing by Fancy.
Which was recently mentioned. And since our discussion on the last episode, yes, Les Binks, there was one article that got posted after we recorded our episode last week, depending on your point of view, that said, yeah, he passed away a month ago. It's crazy that it would take that long to trickle down to folks.
Now, oddly enough, I saw the aside from the one that you had posted, I'd seen. So I think everybody must have found out because it was a recent post by Eddie Trunk where he didn't make it about himself, probably because he didn't have enough of a relationship with Les Binks
to buddy,
just
Les
be like,
Binks.
I knew him. There was no cloud. He's just like basically just he passed away. So sad.
The day. Did you know that?
Yeah, there was no Les Binks died. Me. So it was a very odd and therefore touching post.
Yeah, it was actually heartfelt.
He's just, how can I make this about me? He's like, I'm so sad to hear about. I don't know. That's probably the worst.
I am so sad. Well, this is we were recently talking about that horrible thing with Vince Neil where he was in the accident and he killed the guy. What band was the guy from?
Hanoi Rocks.
Hanoi Rocks. I went to say Gorky Park. Similar idea, wrong band. We're and I know me and my buddies used to talk about it. We used to joke about it, but not in a way that it was just Vince Neil's a horrible person, which was like he was like on the behind the music. He's like, why is this happening to me? It's like, you just killed somebody. It's like, oh, it's why do bad things happen to good people? It's like what about him and his family?
Yeah.
It's terrible. But,
you're not objectively not a good person if you're doing that.
Pretty horrible, awful.
Anyways, back to this. Yes. I think that this is an example of say the album as a whole is not high up in our rankings, but that doesn't mean that I'm still not going to go and listen to like the first 4 or 5 songs and rock out to them. There are plenty of albums out there that don't quite hit the mark where they'll have some really great songs on them. So you got to remember that. But overall, I just really feel like, and I think you brought up a good point is it's what we're putting on the album subjectively. It's we're looking at this as a concept album or something. So I guess what I was hoping for was that he was going to stick with the musical and lyrical themes from the first part of the album for the whole album. I think that my opinion is that would have made it stronger. It would have been a more concentrated effort because like Hughes doesn't have to, like no artist has to flex their muscles, like spread their wings and do all musical styles on every project they do. Like he could have been just like, okay, this is my dark album and not been soulful or bluesy or anything like that. It's okay to do that. And I think that albums that I've always liked have had that kind of focus on it more. Like an artist or a band will focus on, okay, let's intentionally make this musically and thematically very similar, so it's a consistent listening experience. And it's unfortunately for the second half of the album just suffered from what most Hughes solo albums do, is just it didn't stay consistent. And he just kind of went all over the place,
Mm.
I think.
I think it's got some great tracks on it, like some of the best Hughes bonus tracks that I've tracks that I've heard. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here.
Yeah, and even the other ones that didn't fit in that much with the album, objectively not bad songs, just might have been better for another album, or in the case of the 7 and 8 minute long songs, could have been cut in half.
Yeah, I think it would have. I think you could have sequenced this in a way, and there were some great parts of those songs, but I think it could have just been a little bit more, yeah, restricted a little bit more from what it was. Yeah. So that's it. That's Glenn Hughes' Addiction. Looking at this album, it was released July 10th, 1996 in Japan, came out in Europe later that year, and then 97 for the US, which contained 3 bonus tracks previously mentioned: Way Back to the Bone Live, Touch My Life Live, and You Fool No One Live. And on those, they had Sampo Axelson, Joe Travers, and Morgan Argren. I'm sorry, just Morgan Argren on the live tracks. And then Lassa Polak, which hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, in his live band. It doesn't look like there was any. Oh, no. Yeah, Lassa was keyboards. Sorry. So, but Glenn would have been nobody listed for guitar. I guess it must have been Marsh on guitar at that point. And then the Japanese release completely messed with the running order. This is I'm Not Your Slave, Cover Me, Addiction, Madeline, Talk About It, Death of Me, Down, Blue Jade, Justified Man, and then ended with I Don't Want to Live That Way Again. So the same like 3 songs at the end of the album. About this album, he says, Glenn says, I also need to think what I need to make myself happy. Feel made me happy when I made the album. Addiction was a rough album to make because it was an album I didn't want to make. I was convinced into making it, although I think it is a very good rock album. The only problem with me is it's not funky. The real Glenn Hughes and the real Glenn Hughes fans knows I am into funky music. Then he also says, when asked about if he's satisfied with the success of the album, he said, it's not as successful as Feel, not yet. I tell you this again, that the albums I have been making the last 3-4 years have just been scratching the surface. I don't think I'm ever going to have a massive album until I am with a label that appreciates what I am doing. I've been making albums to make these labels happy. I'd like to make albums that make Glenn Hughes happy. Feel was an album that was making me happier. If you look at Addiction as a rock album, it's a great rock album, but I didn't want to make a rock album. If you look at the members on Feel, I said it felt like it was necessary to make a different kind of album, but I went back to playing rock. But a lot of people liked it. The press loved it. I got great reviews. Some of the press people don't understand the funky Glenn Hughes for the soulful Glenn Hughes, but it's too bad. They are going to have to get used to it. So he's kind of telling a story there, which may back up what we're saying. Maybe this isn't the way that he wanted this album to go, and could have been pressured by the suits, the producers, whoever you want to say, to make it in this particular way.
Well, hey, I mean, it's mixed results, but I mean, a handful of really strong songs, I think.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. What else do we have here? We have reviews. So actually, I don't know. Should we thank our patrons now and then finish with reviews, or do reviews and then do patrons?
Hey, thank the patrons, and we'll finish off with what some people thought about this.
See that, guys? John always puts the patrons first. That's
decisive.
That's why
It's
they
me.
stay loyal to the show. So speaking of patrons, at the £3.50 tier, we have Lord Longford. At the £3 aromatic feed tier, Simon Ford and Richard Brees. At the €3.50 tier, we have Weston Supermare Pilgrim. At the 293 pence tier,
Blackmore tights.
At the $3.33 halfway to evil tier, Stephen Sharp and Duncan Leask.
Hungry horse, hungry horse.
At the $3 Nobody's Perfect tier, Peter Gardeau. Ian DeRosier. Mark Roback. Then we have Stuart McCord. And of course, Ivan Fjellbu. Runar Simonsen. Ruinous Inadequacies. Corey Morissette. Joe Dopefish Sigler. Adam Cork, Tim Wood, and Steve Down to Earth Kohler. At the the $1.71 tier, we have
Rich, Youngwee, Shaylor.
I know who Rich is. Rich is my favorite.
At the 10 cold hard Danish kroner tier, we have Karsten Lau.
Cold hard Danish kroner.
And at the $1 made-up name tier, we have the I'm Not Your Grave, Leaky Mausoleum, Stephen Somerville, the Concerto 1999 Fanatic, Hank the Tank, Private Eyes, Ashen Lionel, Zwapper, the Electric Alchemist, Anders Engstrom, ICDC, Durple Purple, David Haddam, Graham Bonnet's Disco Pants and Haircuts.
I said, Graham, our audience expects you to be a bit more dirty.
Disco pants and haircuts. Yeah.
I'm just going to put my guitar across his head.
Eddie Lyon.
Homosexual.
And Sick Tone.
Where is she? Where is she? She's just about to close up the library.
Thank you so much to all of you. And now we're at our favorite part, the reviews. What were people saying in 1996/1997 about Glenn Hughes' addiction? Well, we turn first to the pages of Darker Than Blue. And I've been in touch with Simon and Anne because I just bought, actually, see if I just got this poster. I'm trying to cover up my address. Anyway, it's a tube, this butterfly ball movie poster in from them. So huge appreciation to Anne and Simon at Darker Than Blue. I'm excited about, still haven't opened it, but I got to figure out a place to hang that. And in communication with them to fill out my Stargazer / Darker Than Blue collection, because there's a few issues that I'm missing. But from the pages of Darker Than Blue, this is, which issue is this? This looks like this is issue number 49 from February of 1997. They say, Glenn's latest 10-track solo CD, issued ahead of the pack in Japan, yet again, for obvious reasons, they paid for it. A lot of people have spoken to me about the CD expressing mixed feelings, and I have to say I can see why, having played it a few times. As with Feel before it, Addiction still has a kind of made-to-measure atmosphere about it. Great vocals, as always, and especially poignant here, given the subject matter. But I'm still left with the impression that Glenn is, or has held back a little. Certainly, it's a lot rockier in kind of modern Sabbath schools of riffs way, but musically the band isn't able to put across much of a personality, so it comes across as a working by numbers affair for the most part. The sad part is that played live, some of these cuts were real blinders. The title track, for example, which here is good with some nice guitar work, which pointedly refuses to ape American-style whizziness, but succeeds by knocking you into submission, whereas it's grabbed one by the throat instantly on stage. Likewise, Talk About It came over more strongly live, being a much-needed break from the assault on one's senses. Death of Me opens the CD to good effect, predictable structure, It's true, but it kind of works its way under your skin. Strangely enough, it's a song called Justified Man towards the end of the disc that I find myself drawn to. Taking a slightly different direction, more of a bluesy freestyle rock, it suggests that this might be a fruitful area for the future, and Glenn's vocals really here suit the style. It's so much more adult than the very American look at the blues, which he had to work with a couple of CDs ago. Glenn puts his heart and soul into the lengthy CD closer, I Don't Want to Live That Way, but musically it's a curiously shapeless work, out of which rather means the effort is dissipated. So all in all, a mixed bag, and interestingly, one of the very few have committed to their thoughts to on paper, which is why you have had to put up with me rambling on again. There you go. Thoughts from, and they don't often say who wrote it. I'm assuming that might be Simon, but doesn't seem, he's usually a little snarkier, so it might not be him. But what do you think of that review? Kind of.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty accurate to how I felt.
I haven't heard a ton of the songs live, but I could see how they could maybe come to life a little bit more on stage.
Yeah, well, I mean, that part I would have to imagine is so, but I think it's just kind of the mixed feelings about it, the band not having too much of a personality. Like I can kind of get some of that.
Yep.
And some of these like coming across as better on stage, which I know that we've heard a lot of that from I think one of the recent episodes that we had Rich on, he expressed that sentiment a lot, as this song or that song from the album that we're reviewing comes across better on stage. And sometimes you can hear that, you know what I mean? You can picture it, you can hear that and be like, yeah, I could see this being like a real barn burner on stage.
And I think,
or live,
he mixes up musicians quite a bit. So while they're all professionals and great musicians, they can certainly play together and it sounds great, but there might be something missing from that chemistry if you've been together for this short period of time and maybe you haven't captured that magic yet, or played together enough. They may have only played live a few times before doing this. Right. Whereas if you're sticking with the same folks, you might kind of develop a combined style rather than just being a backing band. This next review comes from Melodic Rock. The website I don't believe is around anymore, but you can find it on the Wayback Machine. This says total score 90%, production 95%, songs 85%, vibe 85%, attitude 95%. So pretty good scores. A lot of different categories there. An odd ranking system. It says Glenn Hughes has been around the block not only once, but maybe 4 or 5 times. Since this album is now on wide release, I thought it would be good to revisit it. Now that it has had time to mature. Now, back in his prime, after several visits to Betty Ford, Glenn has had a new lease on life and has been releasing albums with great reliability, a trait I wish other acts would pick up on. His most recent albums, Blues, From Now On, Burning Japan Live, and Feel, have all been superb. Diverse, yes, but of great quality nevertheless. With Addiction, Glenn has made his first 90s album. That is, it's raw, it's heavy, and it's very contemporary. What he hasn't done is sold out to alternative. He has merely taken his God-given voice and let her rip on the heaviest album I have ever heard Glenn do. Depending on where you buy the album from, the track listing is shuffled, but the rockers on this album include the anthem Death of Me, killer heavy track, Down, and Cover Me. The not quite flat out tracks include the albums I'm Not Your Slave, which he ends as heavy as anything on the album, and the good rock track Justified Man. For balance, there's a couple of slower tracks, but not your usual ballads in any way. I Don't Want to Live That Way Again clocks in at over 9 minutes. 9 minutes? It was 8 minutes. and smolders along
Whoops.
until near the finish where it explodes. A great album for Hughes fans to add to their collection, but also a good point for new fans, especially those who don't know his other albums, to pick up on one of rock's finest talents. They don't call him the voice of rock for nothing. All right, so a slightly more glowing review there from Melodic Rock. Then we go to, this one is by, geez, I don't even know where this one's from, but it's by Alex Figgis. It gives 9 out of 10 to this album. From the opening crash of cymbals through to the lingering vocals at the end, Addiction, Hughes' fourth studio project to date, is dense, both musically and lyrically. By fusing the harder-edged moments from Now On in 94 with 1995's Feel, the whole album is given a moody, sub-metal hard rock sound. In spite of such ballads as puts Blue Jean, like Blue Jeans, it's Blue Jade, and I Don't Want to Live That Way Again. However, behind the heavy concoction created by guitarist Mark Bonilla, Joachim Marsh, and drummer Joe Travers, Hughes' bass can still be heard slapping down the old familiar funk rhythms, adding an interesting and compelling element to Addiction's sound. Lyrically, Hughes communicates with the listener at a deep, thought-provoking, and emotional level, covering such topics as pain, talk about it, drug addiction, divine protection, cover me, justification, justified man, and repentance, I don't want to live that way again. All of which Hughes has experienced personally, having become a Christian after years of drug and alcohol addiction. The repetition of the chorus in some songs could impair one's enjoyment. In spite of the slight niggle, there is enough material here to keep the listener's attention both lyrically and musically. Not one to be missed. Okay. I like that he lists out the songs. Justification, justified man. Addiction.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yes, I like also that the song Blue Jade is about blue jeans. Blue jeans. Like this touching song about his blue jeans. Forever in blue jeans, Glenn. All right. And then we have one more. This is a short one from the Coast to Coast issue number 20, the Glenn Hughes fanzine from the mid-90s. This is a review of the upcoming album, so it hadn't come out yet, by Per Holmgren, a friend of Glenn's. He says, I have been listening to this tape a lot, probably more than any other of Glenn's albums in the 90s. It's got an amazing amount of energy, and it's very aggressive. For the 90s, this is. Contemporary will hopefully attract a lot of new, younger fans, but could also maybe scare some of the old geezers away. And this is in 97, so the old geezers were about 40. If you really like AOR, like From Now On, Brazen Abbott, etc., I'm not sure you will like this, but it is a very good album. At least 6 great songs, and the other 4 are quite good as well. Mark Bonilla has done very good work when it comes to production and has really taken it to the edge and occasionally beyond. Glenn's voice is the best I've heard him perform when it comes to hard rock, but my favorite albums are still Play Me Out and You Are the Music. Feel felt like a 200% Glenn Hughes solo album. This doesn't, as it only features one side of Glenn's music. Still, it's definitely the right album to do at this moment. IMO, that is. And very importantly, most of the songs will work out great live. Can't wait until the autumn. Musicians, Mark Bonilla, guitar and some keyboards, Joachim Marsh, guitars on his 3 songs, and I'm Not Your Slave. Joe Travers, drums. I'm 0% objective, but I prefer Joachim's guitars and would have liked to hear him play on more of the songs, especially the heavier ones. Death of Me and the title track. Mark has done some very tasteful acoustic guitars, though, as mentioned before, a great production. The drums are by far the best I've heard on Glenn Hughes' solo album. They were not especially good on Feel, IMO. So it's pretty interesting that he's using IMO twice in 1996. Very,
yeah, right. I like how he's like that he likes this tape.
Yeah, that dates it. So in the era of playing tapes, which it would not have been at all unusual in the mid 90s, he's using IMO.
That takes me back though.
Must have been very ahead of the curve with his internet.
Takes me back though, So what are you doing? I'm listening to tapes.
I'm going to listen to some tapes. Well, it's funny because they still use that in some situations when you're like, check the tapes. My kids even say it too, because we have the camera up in the raw, and if they get in a fight about something, like, check the tape. I'm like, I'm not refereeing your fight by seeing who was right in this situation. It's like in sports now, they're starting to use a lot of like tapes so they can go to the cameras, but you can only do it like once or twice per game. I got to do that like only once a month. Will I solve this fight by going to the tapes? Use it wisely. But there you have it. That's Glenn Hughes, Addiction.
Yep, there we have it.
Another solo Hughes joint in the can. Enjoyable album. I'm going to see what it's like listening to it on my commute tonight as well, and see how just kind of the flow of the album without us interrupting the tracks and all that, how it kind of flows.
Yeah.
Excited to listen to it again. But all right, there we have it, folks. A little bit of a shorter episode as we wrap out this review, but once again, 2 slightly shorter episodes rather than one giant episode. So, anything to say in closing, John?
Yeah, I'm just hoping that the further down we get through Hughes' catalog, there's maybe CD in there. One of his albums. A tape. One of his tapes will be the most consistent. There'll be one that I'm like, this is my favorite.
As I said in our last episode, I have one. I don't think this will unseat it. And I am wondering, I want to go back and kind of listen to it again because I really do enjoy it. And I want to see if it holds up, like song by song. So I'll be coming to that episode probably with a little bit more background on the album than I generally do in this era anyway. But I don't know when we'll get to that. I don't know how many more Hughes solo albums we have between now and that one, but it should be interesting.
Yeah.
And then he's going to be in like 6 other bands by the time we get through. He goes from not putting out much to making up for lost time in a big way by being extremely prolific. So
yeah.
All right, John. Well, have fun at work tonight. I know I will.
Yep.
And I will. What's a good? I'm trying to see what's an appropriate track for us having to go to work now. Feeling down about it. Death of Me. I'm Not Your Slave. We'll go. I'm Not Your Slave.
Yeah, that's a good anti-work anthem.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not your slave, man.
Get back to work. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll see you next week, John.
Okay.
All right. Later.
Bye.
If you like the Deep Purple podcast and would like to support the show, please consider joining our Patreon or donating on PayPal. Patrons get full access to the podcast, Discord server, ratings, spreadsheets, and live stream invites. You can also leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts to help new people discover the show. You can follow the show on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, or Threads. You can also check out the website at deeppurplepodcast.com for show notes and more. Contact us via email at John or Nate at deeppurplepodcast.com. Thanks for listening.